Good afternoon. I'm Liz Purnell, an Education and Training Specialist with the Institute of Child Nutrition. Welcome to the Team Up Thursdays webinar on Teaming Up for Food Safety. The Institute of Child Nutrition, along with its Applied Research Division, has collaborated with USDA to develop Team Up for School Nutrition Success. Team Up is a unique learning experience designed to enhance the operation of school nutrition programs. It provides tailored technical assistance to programs that want to maintain a healthy environment and increase student meal program participation. As a follow-up to the Team Up pilot workshop back in 2014, a monthly webinar series was launched. It serves as a platform to further enhance partnerships and to provide an opportunity for all school nutrition professionals to discuss issues and provide solutions and best practices used by districts in key areas. The ICN has created a website for all materials and resources specifically related to Team Up. You can find the information at www.theicn.org/teamup. Thank you for joining us today in the webinar on food safety. September is National Food Safety Education Month, and this year's theme focuses on building a culture of food safety. Providing food safety training is part of building a strong foundation on food safety culture in your operation. It'll be exciting to hear from our expert panelists as we learn about best practices in food safety and the abundance of free training and resources for child nutrition professionals that are offered by the Institute of Child Nutrition and USDA's Food Nutrition Service Office of Food Safety. I'm pleased to announce our panelists today. Shelley Moore, Food Service Director at Tipton Community School District in Tipton, Iowa, will start us off today. She'll give insight into how she manages food safety and training in her district. Next, we will hear from Liz Dixon, Education and Training Specialist at the Institute of Child Nutrition. She'll provide an overview of the many free food safety resources available from ICN. Then we will hear from Katie Del Rosario, Food Safety Specialist with USDA Food Nutrition Service Office of Food Safety, who will tell us about USDA's food safety website as well as the great resources they have available. And to wrap us up, I'll close out with just a few announcements. During today's webinar, all attendees are muted. There will be time for questions following each speaker's presentation. If you have a question, please type it in the question box on your screen. Shelley, I'll turn it over to you now.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Go ahead and show my screen here. Okay, hi everyone. As Liz said, I'm Shelley Moore. I'm from Tipton Community Schools in Tipton, Iowa. And I've been in child nutrition for about 19 years. And food safety is the heart of everything we do as we try and keep kids safe and serving them the nutritious meals, and also making sure we're meeting all of the guidelines on a daily basis. As you hear what the basics have been in the Tipton schools, I hope you can relate it back to your district and take what pieces I discuss here that might work for you. No two operations are the same, and we can all share with each other, and you can take bits and pieces and put together your own food safety program. So when you need to disassemble something that is as big as a food safety program, tools are helpful. The most useful tools I have found for keeping food safe are standard operating procedures, thermometers, temperature logs, and staff training. So it's important that we all be on the same page as I move forward here. So I'm going to define a couple of points. So an SOP, or standard operating procedure in Tipton, is simply a document that gives reference to how something is supposed to work. Standard operating procedures are the documents that explain in a step-by-step manner how to complete a task. Staff training is provided to the staff to increase their knowledge on a topic, which then improves performance. So in other words, they've learned something. We all need guidelines, as simple as knowing what time we're expected to be at work, what time we're supposed to be off the clock. For one person, the time to be at work might mean that they're simply walking through the front door of the building at their scheduled work time. For another, it might mean they're at their workstation ready to begin a task. So in Tipton, We have an SOP, or standard operating procedure, that defines what it means to begin to be at work, ready to begin the workday. That's what the SOP is called, begin the workday. It's a guideline. Staff are trained on that guideline. Staff trainings in Tipton take on several forms that I'll explore more in a bit. Here are just a couple of the many resources to use to lay out and improve a food safety plan. Liz and Katie will be discussing more on ICN and USDA resources. One place that we started here in Iowa was with ICN and USDA as our basis, and Iowa State University Extension and Outreach also has a place for us. And as you can see, the words that are underlined there kind of outline the way our manual might be set up, so that once you start putting SOPs together, you go back and try and find them in the mess of your plan, all become to make sense, and it doesn't turn out to personnel and personal hygiene expectations are. The flow of food is in there, and that's where you can talk about your critical control points. So as I said, these are just some of the many, many resources. There are many ways to train, so many ways. We just have to grab an opportunity in our busy schedules and go with it. In Tipton, some of the forms training can take are certified training events within our buildings or from outside organizations, small group trainings, or individual conversations. Before school starts, we meet to do our civil rights training and our bloodborne pathogen training. When we do this, we sneak in some food safety training. Looking at our health inspection reports for each of our buildings is a great way to review past conversations with our health inspector. When he's inspecting us, should we have points that need to be corrected, our inspector is offering an educational component by talking with our staff. I always encourage staff to have that small talk conversation with the inspector that comes in the door, because that person is your friend. That person's got your back if something comes up. They know how you operate. They know what you're thinking, because those small talk conversations lead to the big stuff. So these conversations are revived among staff as they share about the health inspection in the building in which they had been working at that time. I heard one conversation regarding how we displayed our fresh fruit. So at a high school building, we had the bowls of whole fresh fruits on top of the self-serve bar. So there was a bowl of oranges and a bowl of apples. And it was not okay because of the height of the students, and the apples are considered a ready-to-eat food. So they couldn't be up there and still be consumed safely because they weren't under the sneeze guard and protected. So staff had conversations at this training that was sort of off the grid of what was on our agenda. And it led to relearning the regulations about what are our ready-to-eat foods. What happens when we put a pan of something else out and there's no room under the bar? How are we going to make sure that that food that is ready to eat stays safe for each and every student coming through the line? So if we had violations on our health inspection report, we discuss those and take notes to make certain we aren't making those mistakes for the next visits. Employees are usually very pleased with any violations that might come up that our health inspector verbalizes right away. And maybe he doesn't see the need to write it down as a violation per se, but as a corrective action that was taken immediately. There's just a satisfaction in knowing, hey, we were able to fix that right away. We also take a look at specific SOPs that pertain to food safety, such as hand washing and reviewing the food employee reporting agreement that everybody signs at the beginning of the year. So, sometimes somebody might come to work with a sore throat, and so then we're asking the question, are you sure you need to be here? Because do you remember that food employee reporting agreement that you signed? In Tipton, we also have what I call a green table discussion. So when some things come up and we really need to have a meeting and there's no time to get everybody together, that table with sort of the Formica top there in front of you, we have for paperwork, and we just say, hey, we got to have a green table meeting at 2:30 before you all leave. So we have this table we gather around and have usually very short, they don't last more than 5 to 7 minute meaningful discussions. Say a change has to be made to a standard operating procedure, or we develop a new one, staff might need to read it and sign off. We introduce it around the green table and then leave the SOP in a designated place for staff to sign off on by a specified date. So we might discuss changes, reasons for changes, see if anybody has any questions, and also talk about any other issues that might be coming up that might be just sort of a scuttle and discussion that nobody's had time to bring up so that we can solve the problem. Staff are encouraged to become SAFE certified. I've taken steps to be able to teach the course. It makes staff feel a little more at ease, that they can stay local, and in addition to my being able to teach it, there's also many local opportunities to take the course through our extension office and also through our purchasing co-op. In Tipton, we choose to pay for the cost of the course, while some districts that surround us, I know, offer pay incentives to obtain and keep a ServSafe certificate for their employees. Displaying that certificate shows district patrons that they can trust you to keep their students safe, and staff are proud of that accomplishment of earning that certificate. That's a lot of knowledge there in that 8-hour course. Individual conversations are probably one of the most powerful tools in your toolbox, at least in Tipton, that I have found. Many people look at these conversations as conflict. I look at them at one of the strongest learning events. On-the-job training, at the moment something happens, can be turned into a positive if you approach employees in the right manner. When you explain to a staff member that they cannot go to the back of the dish machine and pull clean trays off until they wash their hands because any cheese sauce they have from scraping trays at the front of the machine can grow bacteria so fast if it gets on the clean trays at the back of the machine that they could make kids sick. What a terrible feeling that would be to know that you were the one that made them sick. I usually include a question in these conversations such as, do you think you can make that work? And if the answer is no, then I ask why not, and we work until we find some options. Solutions really come pretty easily in this manner when people realize what can happen. And yes, this is regulation, but it's regulation for a reason, and a good reason. I've had 3 different dishwashers come up with 3 different ways to go from the receiving end of the machine to the clean table in a manner that was acceptable to our health inspector. So again, the buy-in here comes when staff truly understand why food safety needs to be front and center of all we do. And that is what could happen to our students if we do not wash our hands well enough, and how that can be traced back to you, the employee. So regulations tell us that a supervisor must be educated in food safety. Professional standards regulations say that it is up to the director to determine the needs of their staff, and food safety training should definitely be a priority. One piece of paper, a standard operating procedure, outlining the details on hot, cold food temperatures can empower an employee and give them enough education on this subject to protect your district students. The SOP can outline that cold foods must be held at 41 degrees, hot foods have to be held at 135, and what to do when a food item is in the danger zone, when to take temperatures, where to record them. A temperature log would accompany the SOP. So you'd make a place on the temperature log for an employee to initial it, ask around to learn what other districts are utilizing for temperature logs. You might think that's not something that would be so different, it's just a place to write the temperature, right? Well, 2 years ago at a meeting I learned about a district that was using a temperature log that actually had the danger zone shaded in red as part of the temperature log, with instructions on the log that if the temperature was recorded in the red section, a supervisor was to be notified immediately. They noticed that staff were recording the temperature, and the temperature was in the danger zone, but nothing was done about that. The employee just thought, well, I'm supposed to record the temperature, that's all I'm going to do. So there might be another learning moment that needs to happen actually on that temperature log. So there are always options to improve on your SOPs. Regulations require that all SFAs, school food authorities, implement a school food safety program that's based on HACCP principles. And HACCP is Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. And this can be a daunting task if you are new to the business of school food service. If you don't have a plan, or any SOPs, start with the basics and build your SOPs one at a time and put them in a manual. As I mentioned, there are tons of resources out there, and the danger zone is a fantastic building block. Temperature logs for multiple aspects of your operation can help staff feel more focused. When I introduced multiple clipboards with temperature logs for multiple production areas in our kitchen, the staff in our district were very unsure of how many hours they were going to have to work to have lunch ready on time and still take and record all of those temperatures. So because we discussed again how they might feel if we received a call from the health inspector stating a claim had been made and there'd be an investigation due to multiple illnesses, all linking back to what we had for lunch on a prior day. We talked about the even bigger picture of how we would feel knowing we could have prevented students from becoming ill and losing the trust of parents who thought we could safely feed their children. As we introduced the refrigeration logs and the temperature logs in the various prep areas for deli and salads and main entree, an ongoing communication happened regarding where the hiccups were. Where are you having trouble getting all the temperatures recorded? What was working, what wasn't? Lots of conversations were going on. So staff have been educated by the SOP regarding the danger zone, recording the temperature of food items, and now they can use an oven or refrigerator unit to get out of the danger zone. As simple as that may seem, when the thought of the rush of hungry students headed your way takes over, clear thinking can go out the window. And if the procedure, the standard operating procedure is right in front of them, it helps them to think clearly and know that they got this. This is our holding food standard operating procedure, and I'm not sure it's complete. It wouldn't all really fit on this slide. And I think this PowerPoint's going to be posted so you can see this, but this is just an example of one that we downloaded from Iowa State University Extension with the details on it. Accountability and awareness are key. So we've talked about training a lot and making staff accountable, and now we need to be aware. So we've trained, we've learned, we've got everything in place. Are we aware of what we're doing? Staff are accountable to a supervisor who can see the thermometer. They're accountable to the students, and they're also accountable to themselves. If they're asked what was the temperature of the pizza that day, they have to be able to answer that question, and they have to show that they recorded it. If you have the opportunity to periodically keep a thermometer and food items during service, it's an educational opportunity on many levels. Do you need to get your food items to a higher temperature so they will hold more easily on the line and still be delicious? Or are you cooking it just fine? Students know you are paying attention to the food, and it presents a level of caring that they may not have even thought about as they come through your line. We've had parents ask us if the students really know what the temperature of their food is when we see them out and about at the local stores. It's not something we do all the time, but we do it periodically, and it's really intriguing, and it's also an educational component for the students. So I encourage you to make sure you have an up-to-date food safety manual. Updated SOPs and food safety and training on them are very important to every operation, even though we're all different. Break down the information in an easy-to-understand format for your employees. When they truly understand the whys and hows of food safety, they'll be much more dedicated to carrying out the SOPs as written, and they will also evolve. You can start with the basics and pull a sample SOP from a colleague or a trusted food safety source and make it your own. There are places on SOPs to note the revision date. Update it as much as you like, and keep staff informed by making time for training in a form tailored to your district and operation. So that's all I have for today. Taking a look, I don't see any questions here yet. So there's one, how do you find time to do standard operating procedures? In Tipton, standard operating procedures have actually sometimes started on a piece of scratch paper. So if we see a problem and people are kind of saying, hey, we got to get this fixed, we'll grab a piece of scratch paper from the desk and write down the kind of the details of what the problem actually is, and then we'll say, okay, so what do you think we got to do here? So somebody might say, I got to have 5 more thermometers on site, and I also need the buckets so that I can put them through the wash, rinse, sanitize procedure, because I'm spending so much time, going back to the sink and cleaning them, and it's taking so much time. So we made a small investment in thermometers. So as far as finding time, just start with a piece of scratch paper, and then you can take a minute here and there and use your resources, and it develops. So thank you for having me today. And I think we're turning this over to Liz Dixon.
All right, hello everyone, this is Liz Dixon. I'm an education and training specialist here at the Institute of Child Nutrition. I'm here to talk to you today about several of the food safety resources that we have available for free. So the kind of resources we offer, we have face-to-face trainings, online courses, fact sheets, posters, resource guides, resource folders, standard operating procedures, videos, and much, much more. We're also very excited to begin offering many of our materials in both English and Spanish. This is always my favorite part of my job. Do know that the resources we talk about today are available for free on our website. If you go to theicn.org, you'll be able to find all the resources we are talking about. So we have a very large variety of food safety materials available that have that scope all different kinds of topic areas. We're going to talk about the different ones today, and most of the ones we are talking about today have been updated within the past 2 years, so they're up to date with the most current food code. The first thing we're going to talk about is our face-to-face trainings. I have listed them here in the order of how long they are. So norovirus is 2 hours, going from 4 all the way to 8. I'm just going to give a little bit of information on each of these trainings. Norovirus in schools, this training targets anyone who is involved with helping clean up from a norovirus incident. It kind of walks through the basics of norovirus, the kind of how it's spread, its symptoms, as well as how to clean up after an incident. Our food defense tabletop exercise, this is a 4-hour training. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this on my next slide. So we're going to move on to food safety basics. This is a 4-hour training designed for staff and managers. It was just updated this year, and it is, as it says, a very basic training on food safety in a school nutrition program. We also have our 4-hour inventory management and tracking course. This is for managers and directors, and it walks through the basics of managing inventory in a school nutrition program, as well as making sure that you have traceability in that program in case of a food recall. Our next one is mock health inspection. This is one of our newest trainings. It is designed to help you look through the eyes of an environmental health specialist. Kind of look at your school nutrition program and be able to see the food safety problems before they become problems. So it kind of teaches you how to do your own health inspections in your school, and then you actually walk through a mock scenario. This is targeted toward directors, but could possibly be managers as well. Next, we have our Managing Food Allergies in School Nutrition Programs face-to-face training. This one is 6 hours long, designed for managers and directors, although staff can benefit from this training. It walks through the general kind of food safety, food allergies, kind of what it is, what the symptoms are, how it's treated, as well as how to read labels, avoid cross-contact, and how to promote food allergy awareness in your school. Our next training is Food Safety in Schools. This is our core food safety training that is designed for school nutrition programs. It was previously named Serving It Safe. We have changed the name, and it is 8 hours long. We now are very excited to offer this full course, all 8 hours in Spanish, which is Seguridad de Alimentos en las Escuelas. We do have Spanish-speaking trainers available for that training. So going back to this tabletop exercise, I wanted to give this a little bit more detail. So our food defense tabletop exercise, we have both an abbreviated and a full version. The abbreviated version is a 4-hour face-to-face training and walks through the basics of food defense as well as a shorter scenario. But our full version actually involves both internal and external stakeholders getting together for planning meetings. And then you go through a one-day exercise, which involves people both inside and outside the school nutrition program, and kind of walks through the school's food defense plan, and kind of you have an after exercise meeting to go through, and make sure that you have a really good full food safety program. So how to request a training from us, if you go to our website, as I showed earlier, theicn.org, you can, on our homepage on the top right of the screen, you can see there is a face-to-face training tab. If you click on that tab, it has listed there all the trainings we have available, listed by target audience, so schools or childcare, as well as different topic areas we have. The application for submitting what training you want is there as well. We do ask that you have your topic, your date, and your location, meaning your city or state, ready to go before you submit that application. And just a little bit more, a couple more items that we need. We do need at least 8 to 10 weeks before the training date, just to make sure we can schedule everything and get everything ready. We request a minimum of 4 hours in a single training day. So if you're interested for, say, a norovirus, we can pair it with one of our 4-hour trainings. We ask that the requesting agency or person also provide a training site and basic AV equipment, so like a projector and a screen. We ask that you help promote the training and pre-register a minimum of 25 participants. Our next type of resource we have is our online courses. These online courses are self-paced. You can leave them and come back. They're completely free, and we have a wide variety of offerings available, and once you've completed the course, you will get a certificate at the end. We currently have our Food Safety in Schools online course. This is a reflection of the face-to-face training. It is 8 hours and is our core food safety course for schools. We also have our Managing Food Allergies and School Nutrition Programs course. Unlike the face-to-face, this one is only 4 hours long. It is the same content, but it just doesn't take as long to do the online course. And then coming soon, we will have our Norovirus in Schools online course, and it will be out later this year, and it will be a 2-hour course. To register for our online courses, you can go to theicn.org/e-learning. That walks through instructions on how you can register for our online courses. You will need to create a profile. And once you've registered and created that profile, you'll have access to our course catalog where all our courses are available. Next, I want to talk about Manager's Corner. This is one of our newer resources. We have designed this for managers and directors to train their staff. So it has very short, to-the-point lessons. Each lesson is about 15 minutes or less. We tried to make them about 15 minutes to hit that minimum for professional standards. Each lesson has a learning objective, a reason why that learning objective is important as related to the job, a materials list of items you may need from your kitchen or from our website, instructions on how to give the training, discussion questions for your staff, and then additional resources that you can either provide for your staff, or if a manager or director needs some more information on the topic, they can read those additional resources as well. Currently, we only have a Manager's Corner for more basic food safety, but we do plan on expanding this resource in the future. We have a plethora of fact sheets available on our website. They've ranged in a variety of topics, and as you can see here, we have cooling food safely. This talks about different kind of cooling methods you can use, ice paddles, ice water baths, how to properly cool. We also have our food allergy fact sheets. We have individual fact sheets on each of the major 8 allergens, as well as how to manage food allergies in schools and CACFP programs, as well as common problems for those two. We have our general food safety fact sheets. This covers everything from biological hazards to cooking food to avoiding contamination, and we have 34 of those. 31 we have had translated into Spanish. These fact sheets Along with the others, they're very quick, to the point information. Most of them are about 2 pages. It's a really good source if you want a specific topic, specific information. We also have our foodborne pathogen fact sheets. We have one for each of the big 6 foodborne pathogens, just giving more information on the different kind of symptoms as well as different ways to prevent them. We have fact sheets on norovirus control. This has to do with stuff like cleaning up body fluid spills as well as avoiding spreading norovirus. And then also we have our produce safety fact sheets, which we do have individual fact sheets for individual produce types. As you can see, the apple information one here. But then we also have information on handling produce from school gardens, as well as handling produce in the classroom, and a couple items from school gardens. We also have a wide variety of posters available. These posters are usually 1 page, to the point, direct information and reminders that you can hang up around your kitchen. We have cooling food safely again. We have how to use an ice bath, how to use an ice paddle. We have food allergies. We have a best practices poster that's brand new. We also have our general food safety posters. This is kind of your best practices, your good personal hygiene, your temperature control, your keep your hot foods hot, cold foods cold, how to put food in the refrigerator according to the cooking temperature, how to properly dress for work to reduce any kind of contamination. All those are available on our website. We also have our set of norovirus posters. These include don't work when sick and how to use a body fluid cleanup kit. We also have a produce safety poster, which shows how to store produce in a way that the different produce do not prematurely ripen other ones. And then one of our new things we have are our visual posters. You can see an example of one here on the screen. We have both the written component on the left and the visual component on the right. These are available both English and Spanish. We have currently how to properly wash your hands, and then also how to properly use disposable gloves. They are available as a set to order. We're very excited about this thing. They're a lot larger than our other posters. Most of our posters are 8.5 by 11 and can be printed from a computer. This one's a bit larger at 11 by 17. Finally, we have our water emergency posters. One of these is how to set up a temporary hand washing station in case your water goes out. And the other one is a nice handy don't use the water poster in case your water gets cut or you're under a boil water emergency. A nice poster that you can hang on water fountains and such so people don't try to use the water. Our next resource we have is our resource guides. These are more in-depth information on specific topics. Our first is our employee health and personal hygiene. We have 2 different resources, although they're pretty short. We have one for managers and directors. It's only about 15 pages, and it actually has a sample employee health agreement that you can go over with new employees. We also have one for staff. It's only about 7 or 8 pages and really goes into detail about kind of the 3 things for personal hygiene: making sure you wash your hands, avoiding touching ready-to-eat foods with bare hands, and then not working when you're sick. We also have our inventory management and tracking resource. This gives a lot more detailed information on just some of the terminology and the how-to behind inventory management and tracking. Next, we have our procedures for recalls of USDA foods. This is a very detailed document that gives a lot of good information on how to do recalls when it comes specifically to USDA foods. We also have our Summer Meals Food Safety Training Guide. This is a brand new resource that we just created this year. It was designed for non-traditional summer meal food safety sites, such as food service sites, such as like churches and community centers and parks. It's a very basic food safety information guide. It was designed for people who may or may not have had any food safety training, so it's very adaptable to any kind of environment where someone may need to learn some food safety tips. And finally, we have our water emergency preparedness resources. Currently, they focus on loss of water, so if a main breaks or the water shut off for construction or anything. We do have a resource on loss of water, as well as checklists for what to do before, during, and after both a short and long-term water loss. Next, we have our resource folders. What these resource folders have is they kind of package together several of our several of the different kinds of resources we've already talked about before and we haven't talked about yet in a physical, easy, all-together folder. They may have fact sheets, posters, standard operating procedures, videos, or resource guides. As you can see, we have ones for employee health and personal hygiene, norovirus, produce safety, cooling foods, and food allergies. These are all available to order free of charge, and if we have them in stock, we can send them to you. Next, we have our HACCP-based standard operating procedures. So these are available on our website. We have sample standard operating procedures, different kinds of logs, as well as our food safety checklist. These are adaptable. We make them available in Word. You can take them off our website and adapt them to your specific school nutrition program. We highly encourage that you adapt them to your program because, as Shelley said, everyone's program is a little different. The food safety checklist we have available is very, very useful for kind of giving yourself your school nutrition program full food safety inspection. Next, we have several videos. These are very useful for training your staff. The first one we have is Cooling Food Safely. This is about a 10-minute video. It walks through methods for cooling large batch foods in a safe manner. We also have our Employee Health and Personal Hygiene mini-series. These are 3 very short 2 to 3 minute videos that you watch in order. You can see them up on the screen. We have reporting illnesses, handling illness, and preventing illness. And what happens is you watch somebody who comes into work sick and you watch that whole scenario unfold. We also have our brand new hand washing to prevent the spread of disease video. This video is very short. It's only about 30 seconds. It literally just shows how to the steps for proper hand washing. Very good for quick information, and you can easily show this video and then reinforce it by walking through the steps with your staff on how to wash your hands. Our next video is our food allergy video. This video, we actually went and interviewed a school on their food allergy program. We interviewed a child with food allergy as well as their parents and walked through how they kind of control food allergies. For our norovirus control, this video involves a scenario in which people kind of do the wrong thing and an unfortunate norovirus outbreak happens. And it has, in the norovirus training, it has a answer key to the video that shows all the problems that went wrong, so good training for your staff. And finally, that is not a typo, we have 54 produce safety videos. They are divided into different kind of topic areas. There's one that's more focused on like farms. We have several that are focused on individual produce, such as apples, oranges, and strawberries. And then we have two sets of videos that are very good for training. One is what went right, and the other is what went wrong. These are all available on our website, and very good for training, very good for kind of showing both proper and what you don't want to happen in your school nutrition program. So I just briefly wanted to show, this is one of our newest resources. This was our Summer Meals Food Safety Kit. Once again, this was part of what we targeted toward non-traditional audiences this past summer, 2017. It included the Summer Meals Food Safety Training Guide, the 2 visual posters I've already mentioned, as well as a food safety tips lanyard, the hot and cold temperature stickers to remember to keep hot food hot, cold food cold. It included a pen with a food safety message that said remember to record temperatures, a food thermometer, and instructions on how to use this kit, all included in a bag that is not pictured here. These kits were made available summer 2017. They will be available 2018, but we will have, please keep an eye on our website for more information about that. So I wanted to give you all some direct links on how to find different resources on our website. As you can tell, we've got several topic areas that we have covered, and you've probably heard over and over again. Well, we put all those different resources for specific topics together. So if you're interested in our employee health and personal hygiene resources, you go to theicn.org/employee health. If you're interested in our food allergy resources, and we have resources from other reputable sources as well. You can go to the ICN/food allergy. If you're interested in our norovirus resources, which include our training, our standard operating procedures, our fact sheets and posters, you go to theicn.org/norovirus. If you're interested in the produce safety, which includes all those videos, you can go to theicn.org/produce safety. And our newest landing page, that includes the Summer Meals Food Safety Training Guide, the 2 visual posters we mentioned, and that food safety tips card. You can go to theicn.org/safe summer meals. We also now have available a Spanish website. We are hosting all our Spanish resources here. It's es.theicn.org. It hosts our resources such as Seguridad de Alimentos en las Escuelas, as well as our Spanish fact sheets, our Spanish posters. It even has our Basics at a Glance poster in Spanish, as well as some of our childcare posters that we have in Spanish. And I just briefly wanted to cover some of our childcare food safety resources that we have available for any of those who may also work in childcare. We have our 2 face-to-face food safety trainings. Food safety in childcare is a 4-hour course. And then we also have norovirus in childcare, which is a 2-hour course. Both of them similar. Food safety in childcare obviously covers different kind of food safety procedures in the childcare environment. And norovirus control is how to handle a norovirus situation in childcare. We also have food safety in childcare as an online course. It is also 4 hours as well. And then we have our employee health and personal hygiene and managing food allergies resource folders available for childcare. We also have several videos available for childcare. We have an employee health and personal hygiene mini-series for them as well as a managing food allergies video. For resource guides, we have employee health and personal hygiene for childcare directors, childcare staff, and family childcare. We also have our food safety and family childcare resource guide available specifically for that audience. We also have available several fact sheets on food allergies for both childcare centers and family childcare. If you have any more information, if you would like any more information, or you have any questions, or would like to request any of these materials, please feel free. You can give us a call at 1-800-321-3054, or you can email your request to helpdesk@theicn.org. If you would like to keep up with all the new resources we have available, feel free. You can follow us on any of our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Vimeo, and Pinterest. And if you want a more direct route, you can go on our website and register for our newsletter. Thank you all so much. All right, I'm going to look at some of these questions. First one, are these trainings available for child care facilities? We do have those specific child care trainings, the food safety in child care and the norovirus in child care. And if that does not answer your question, feel free right back in. Do the free online courses qualify as hours required as food directors like qualify? My apologies. Do free online courses qualify as the hours required as food service directors like this one is? Both our face-to-face training and our online courses qualify for professional development hours. Can you provide links to the folders and SOPs? For the folders, they are hard copies, they are physical copies. You can get the content on those website links that I provided, but the actual folders exist only in hard copy form. For the SOPs, I will try to get that sent out afterward, the link. I think we've answered the next one. Is there an easier way? Title slide again. All right. And then I have one more. Could you show us the webpage for Finding Manager's Corner? I will try to send out the HACCP SOP and the Manager's Corner to everyone who signed up for the webinar. And I think the easiest way to find We have one more question. Easier way to find specific resources on the website is probably using those direct landing pages that were provided. And then somebody said they wanted the title slide one more time. All right, any further questions? All right, I'm going to pass the microphone off to Katie now.
Thanks, Liz. Great presentation. All right, so I'd like to start by wishing everyone a happy National Food Safety Education Month. What better way to round out this month than with this webinar showing all these great food safety resources, and hopefully this will inspire you to continue your food safety efforts beyond September and throughout the rest of the year. I'm with the Office of Food Safety at FNS, and our mission is to protect FNS program participants from foodborne illness by using science-based food safety education, training, and technical assistance. So what I'm going to present today is kind of just a walkthrough of our website. So the link is shown on the screen, but I'll show you what I actually do because I have a hard time remembering all the dashes and spaces and everything. So I usually go to Google and I just Google FNS Office of Food Safety. That's my little cheat there. And it's usually the first link that pops up in Google, and it'll take you straight to our webpage. So first on the home page, this is what you'll see. This banner is actually a clickable link, and it changes frequently. So we try to highlight any relevant or new resources in this banner here. These links as well under featured information are updated quite frequently, and one that I would like to highlight right now is this flash of food safety. So Shelley mentioned during her presentation that she likes to rely on no time to train videos, and that's what this video series was really designed with that purpose in mind. They're very short. You can see less than 5 minutes each, both in English and Spanish, and these videos are just really the basics. If you don't have time to do anything else, you can show them these quick, easy videos: why to wash your hands, how to wash your hands, how to calibrate a thermometer, and how to actively cool with it properly using a chill stick. And the best thing about these videos is, as someone asked Liz earlier for some of her resources on the website, you can get a certificate of completion that will provide some continuing education points for your professional standards development. So that's a really nice resource we have there. And then going back to the home page, if you scroll down below that welcome banner, these 4 boxes are actually links as well. And so the first one here is Food Safety Resources. And that takes you to a plethora of resources organized by main categories. Norovirus, which our stomach bug book is a pretty popular one under here. We also have just general school nutrition information, and we also include links to some of those ICN resources that Liz presented on, as well as any policy documents from FNS, specifically a few childcare resources, food defense information. We link to the ICN Safe Summer Meals resource here. We also have food allergies, current and emerging topics, any other external partner resources like CDC or Fight Back, as well as disaster assistance, and of course foodsafety.gov for any recall information. So I'll scroll back to the home page now. Liz mentioned a lot of produce resources available through the ICN. We also, our office does Produce Safety University each summer, and a few of you on the call may have been to this, and we link to all of our Produce Safety University resources here, including some more awesome training videos, produce safety hacks, our produce information sheets, and also these take-home trainings for professional standards. If you've attended PSU in the past, we provide a condensed, easy-to-use version with speaker notes included, so you can take that training directly back to your district and provide some produce safety training for professional standards credits. So I'll go back to our home page again. And this link here is actually the same one that's featured in our banner, Creating a Culture of Food Safety. And this links to our interactive online version of our Food Safety in Schools Action Guide. And it's the main goal is to really try to create that culture of food safety in your district. So it's divided into these different parts up here. And let's see, and this scrolls through part 1, reviewing your current food safety efforts. And it just goes through, if you've ever seen our action guide, our Food Safe Schools Action Guide, it goes through the whole action guide. That's what that document looks like. And it's just a really nice interactive version of the action guide online if you don't have a copy of the paper version. So I'll go back home again. And lastly, our food safety support link has, it could also probably be called complaints and recall support, because that's mostly what's on this page. It includes our hold and recall procedures for USDA foods. If you're a WebSCM user, a web-based supply chain management system user for any USDA foods ordering or complaints, you can find the links related to those there. And if you have any complaints regarding USDA foods, we do link to the consumer complaints outside of USDA foods, including FSIS and FDA. And if you have USDA foods complaint, those procedures are under this WebSCM link there. So I'll go back home and just point out quickly, because I know we're almost out of time, 2 more our main partner links here. So we also link to the Institute of Child Nutrition page, as well as the Center of Excellence for Food Safety Research and Child Nutrition Programs. And that's housed at Kansas State University. And they do the summer immersion course similar to Produce Safety University, but it's serving up science, and where they take school nutrition directors. You go to KSU on campus, and you have a week-long where you really dive into the science behind food safety as it relates to school nutrition programs. They also have all of their research posters here that they've done related to child nutrition. And some of their publications, their peer-reviewed publications, can be found on this website. And also, if you ever have just a really specific food safety question and you want to talk to a professor and get the science behind it, this is where you would find some really good contacts to ask your burning questions related to food safety and any kind of food science. With that, I'll go back and show this link here, and I'll look to see if we have any questions. What was the shortcut to the page, someone asked. So if you can't remember this link like me, I just go into Google and I type in FNS, Office of Food Safety. So I'll show you one more time. I just Google FNS, Food and Nutrition Service, Office of Food Safety. And that's just an easy way for me to remember the website. And there it is. And if there's not any further questions, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Liz Purnell.
All right, thank you, Katie. I'd also like to thank our other presenters for sharing their great information. But before we conclude, I have just a few quick announcements. There's an upcoming Team Up State event planned in Vermont during the month of October. Team Up for School Nutrition Success, that's designed specifically for site managers, is coming in early 2018. Remember that all the webinars are recorded and can be viewed on the Team Up for School Nutrition Success website at www.theicn.org/teamup. And also, if we didn't get to your question today during the webinar, we will follow up individually to try to answer those for you. State snapshots that provide a summary of Team Up events are also available on our website. And please plan to join us for our next Team Up Thursdays webinar the last Thursday in October. This concludes our Team Up Thursdays webinar, and thanks again for your participation, and have a great day.